bulls and heifers are also sold to buyers within Kenya and beyond. Breeding heifers that are not registered are sold at 70,000 Kenya shillings.
Once these calves grow to 2 years, especially the females, we put them together and select what is suitable for us for breeding. And any other animals that are in excess, we actually offer them to other equivalent breeders to sell as breeding heifers. In the recent past, we've sold a lot within Kenya, and also we've exported quite a number into countries like Tanzania, Uganda, and even Seychelles. So we sell quite a number of breeding animals every year, mainly as breeding heifers at 2 years, or breeding bulls. Breeding bulls, we also sell them when they clock the age of about 2 years plus. And mainly those people who buy are equivalent breeders or other interested parties from elsewhere. When it comes to time of sale, whenever customers contact us that they need to buy breeding bulls, we bring them here, show them the bulls that are actually ready on offer, and then they pick on any particular bull, and we actually put a price on them. Within our herd of the 2,000 breeding cows, about 300 of those are animals that have gone through inspection and vetting by a panel of judges from the Kenya Brandstand, and animals that actually portray the true to type traits of a Boran and undergo certification. And these are the animals that we see actually now are purebred and certified.
Calves are weaned at 8 months. Once separated from the mothers, they are fed with a lot of hay and water so that they can forget suckling. This stage is very critical, as any weight drop can affect the steers all through their life.
These are 8-month-year-old calves that have just been separated with their mothers in a process that we call weaning. In this process, we separate the mothers with the calves, or rather the calves from the mothers, and then we put them in here for a period of time to ensure that they forget about suckling. Within this process, the calves have to be fed with a plenty of hay, and then we ensure that there is enough water, just to ensure that the calves does not lose weight at this stage when they have been separated with their mothers. It's a very sensitive stage, because if you have animals losing weight at this stage, then they will never catch up and grow well again. So you have to feed them with a lot of hay and plenty of water until they get to about 2 weeks, when you now release them from here. Once you release them from here, you can see they are mixed. They are both heifers and castrated male calves. You now grow them separately until they are 3 years and ready for slaughter.
All the livestock are tattooed with a brand number besides the chip. The brand number is used for easy physical identification of the steers and heifers. This also enables them to manage inbreeding, as the brand numbers can be used to trace bloodlines as well.
We actually select animals that are not related. If you look at the bulls here, you see every bull has got a brand number. And every brand number, you see, there are two actually numbers. One brand number below and the other one on top. The number on top actually is the sire to that very bull. Similarly, the cows have got a similar number that indicates their number and the sire, or rather the males who sired them. So when you are selecting for breeding, you actually by look of the numbers and identifying their sires, you actually don't select those that are related, because you can be able to tell by looking at their brand numbers and knowing these animals were sired by this other male.
During the weaning stage, the males are castrated to steers. After castration, they are taken to the intensive breeding zone, where they are put on natural grazing for fattening. The steers are not fed with any supplements or minerals. They are purely fed on grass and hay. The weight is constantly monitored till they are 3 years old, when they are well finished and ready for slaughter. A well-finished steer that will produce prime beef weighs 400 kilograms of live weight and is capable of producing 200 kilograms of beef.
We are now at our intensive breeding zone, where we actually keep our best animals, or the best cattle, brand cattle. And with us is steers that were actually born 3 years ago. They were separated from their mothers at 8 months and then put onto natural grazing up to date. As you can see, they are now well finished, and by finished I mean they are fat enough in terms of how well they are muscled, and even looking at them you can see they have put on enough fat and ready to go to slaughter. So what we do is actually come here when we get the orders from our customers. We come here and select the number of steers as per the requirement and get them to our slaughter hut. Our slaughter hut actually stays next to the slaughterhouse, so that whenever the customers do the order, we are able to get them very quickly.
To ensure there is sufficient food for the livestock all year round, Olpejeta has a 600-acre hay farm as a strategic management plan for the seasons with low pastures. The hay is baled in cylindrical bales which can be stored outside. The excess is sold to farmers from around the region. One bale of hay will cost you between 3,500 Kenya shillings to 4,000 Kenya shillings. The farm is currently capable of producing 15,000 bales annually, which will increase once they scale up production to 900 acres.
Unlike the conventional square bales, here we do the cylindrical, or rather round bales, that can be stored outside in the open. Remember, with the square bales you have to build a structure onto which to shield them from rain and the weather. The round bales, once built, and if they are actually done at the correct moisture content, you store them on the open, and it doesn't matter what weather you go through. When it comes to feeding, you only lose a very small layer on the outside, but the inside of the bale remains intact. It's like you are making a thatch hut. You only lose the top part, but the hay remains of good quality right inside. But the key thing here is to know that apart from actually putting this as a risk strategy, much of this goes to sale. One hay bale goes for between 3,500 to 4,000 shillings, and they actually sell off the farm.
The hay fields are top dressed with urea to nourish the plants. Once seeded, they can be harvested for 5 to 6 years without the need for reseeding.
So far, we've established over 600 acres of similar Bomaroons fields that we expect us to give us quite some good quantity of hay harvest. Once established, these fields actually can give you continuous harvest for about 5 to 6 years without necessarily having to reseed again. And when time comes to reseed, you actually develop another field, you come up with a new field and sort of plow up the whole field. What happens is that generally once you normally get a low harvest within the first year, then you get to a peak within the second and third year, and then after maybe 5 years you start to find that the harvest start declining. So 5 years is sort of a maximum period within an established hayfield.
While cattle ranching within a conservancy means lots of grazing land and pastures for the livestock, predation from lions and other wild animals remain a challenge they have to deal with. During the day, every herd is manned by 2 herders to ensure lions are kept away. At night, the livestock sleep in a predator-proof boma, which are movable.
And the way it works is that it's made about 6 feet high, such that actually lions cannot jump in and kill the cattle. So we are sure that once the cattle actually put into this structure, they are secure from the lions during the night. The whole structure is made up of several sections that actually you are joined by an interjoining pin, and you actually now can adjust the size of the boma depending on the animals that you want to put in. Which means if you want to house in to put in fewer animals, then you can actually remove a section or two, and that makes the boma smaller. If you want to actually keep more cattle in, then you can hand up the sections and then you make the boma bigger.
Other than predators, tick-borne diseases are another challenge, As the livestock share pastures with wildlife, the cattle are sprayed in a spray race every week to manage this challenge. The spray race is a manageable system that allows the spraying of all the animals over a short period of time, as they simply have to pass through the spraying tunnel. From spraying, every animal is weighed on a weekly basis for record keeping. Weighing is also done as the final stage before slaughter to get a record of the live weight before the steers are taken to the abattoir for slaughter. After they are weighed, the steers are taken to a resting boma outside the slaughterhouse. Resting is important before slaughter, as this ensures the steers do not produce tough beef. At least 20 steers are slaughtered here 4 times a week depending on demand.
The slaughter process is supposed to be a stress-free process, so that to ensure that the end product is not actually affected. Stressed animals will give you beef that is tough because of the levels of adrenaline that will trigger the animals to be a bit excited if they are agitated before slaughter. So the resting is actually meant to ensure that the animals are calm before you push them through the ridage into the slaughterhouse.
The slaughterhouse is constructed and operated in compliance with the halal standards. The steer is first stunned using a bolt to the head before it is killed. Stunning is the process of rendering an animal immobile and unconscious using a humane killer before it is slaughtered. After killing, the next step is the skinning process, which is done in the dirty area of the slaughterhouse. At the dirty area, the rumens are separated from the prime beef and skin, all of which are sold separately. After the slaughter, the carcasses are left to set in the clean area where inspection is done. Inspection is done to ensure the beef conforms to the required standards of prime beef and fair average quality beef, which is the 2 types of beef produced here. Once inspected, the beef is stamped and issued with an inspection certificate which accompanies the beef in the transport trucks to the destination. Olpejeta's grass-fed prime beef is sold to prime outlets in Nairobi.